What's up, baseball fans, and what's up, Mets fans? Welcome back to another live stream of MLB Free Agent Frenzy right here on Talkin Mets with Rob. Thank you guys for tuning in tonight at 4 o'clock. We'll go for a couple of hours, see how things go. If things are slow, might end the stream early, but if things start picking up, we will stay with you for a couple of hours, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in today, guys. Don't forget to hit on that like button if you're new to the channel. Say what's up in the chat, and don't forget to hit on that subscribe button, everybody. So yesterday was a very interesting day if you were a fan of the New York Mets in particular. And we'll get into that a little bit. We're going to go what happened yesterday and all the moves that happened yesterday and the minor moves that actually happened today. So when it comes to some Met fans, and I will include myself in this, with the whole Chris Bryant, I will call it saga. I always thought the Mets were going to be one of the teams that were just going to be in on Chris Bryant, just based everything that we had to do to get Chris Bryant. That's what I always thought. We tried to trade for him for 2 years, and we still ended up not getting him. Now, if it was a lack of trying or anything else, but when I saw the contract that he got, that pushed me away rather quickly. I cannot see giving Chris Bryant the contract he received yesterday. That was, if the Mets would have done that, I would have been upset. I would have been happy with the player, but with that contract, I don't care who's the owner. Giving that type of money in years to Chris Bryant, the Rockies ain't going nowhere. I mean, last time I checked, they got the Dodgers, Padres, and the Giants in that division. So at best, they're going to be a fourth-place team, even with Chris Bryant. So what happened yesterday? That's the big thing, right? Most of us know, all of us probably know what went on yesterday. But for people who don't, or people who want to speak about it, I'm going to run down exactly what happened yesterday, mostly the big names that signed and the mid-level free agents and the certain trades that went down yesterday as well. So we can start talking about it and discuss what plans does your team have, does my team have, and we can discuss it together and wait for news of other free agents, because there are 4 big bat names or 4 bats that are still free agents on that we're waiting for. That is Correa, that is Trevor Story, that is Nick Castellanos, and Michael Conforto. We're going to talk about all 4 of those guys. I saw the poll right before I came on live. It was showing Correa was in the lead, the next person that everybody thinks they're going to sign today. So here we are, guys. I'm going to run it down really quickly on who signed and what trades, big time trades and sign-ins, so everybody has an idea of what's going on. And then, as always, guys, I will go right through the comments, say what's up to everybody, and then, as always, go through your comments and we will discuss. So we brought up Chris Bryant. Chris Bryant did sign with the Rockies. It was speculation for basically a week and a half that the Rockies were very, very much involved in the Chris Bryant sweepstakes. And even the owner got involved to the point where he was in the discussions with Chris Bryant and his agent. And it kept on going over longer and longer and longer. And everybody kept on anticipating that, how much are they really going to give him? Like, they're not going to go that far. And for a team that's probably going to be 4th place at best in the NL West, I just couldn't believe that the Rockies gave Chris Bryant 7 years, $182 million. That is $26 million a year. I was like, what the hell are they doing? You know, you spent 7 years, $182 million, but you got rid of Arenado for basically nothing. You basically paid another team to take them for you. You're not even going to take a chance on signing your star shortstop in Story, but you'll give 7 years, $182 million for Chris Bryant, and you can actually make the argument that Trevor Story numbers is basically similar to Chris Bryant. Granted, the road and home splits with Story is a big difference, and obviously, I think all of us can agree that Arenado is better than Chris Bryant. So I don't know what the hell the Rockies are doing. So that's the first one right there. So $26 million per year going to Chris Bryant, 7 years, $182 million. The other one that we heard late last night into early morning was Freddie Freeman. We saw other teams get involved, the Rays, the Red Sox, a little bit about the Padres, the Yankees until they signed Rizzo. And obviously Atlanta was out of it when they traded for Olsen. So it was kind of dwindling down. And what we heard yesterday was the Red Sox are really trying to get Freddie Freeman. And then late last night into early morning, Freddie Freeman is a Dodger. So not only is the Dodgers lineup stacked, it adds not only the offensive talent of Freddie Freeman, but it also adds the defense, the leadership, and everything else, all the other intangibles that Freddie Freeman gives to the Los Angeles Dodgers. So what did he get? He got 6 years what he was looking for from the Braves or any team. He wasn't going to take anything less. It seemed like he had his eyes on 6 years. And he got 6 years, $162 million, which is $1 million more than Freddie Freeman at $27 million per year. And then earlier in the day, Kyle Schwarber signed with the Philadelphia Phillies for 4 years, $79 million, a little under $20 million per year at $19.75 million. And that's a guy that we're going to have to see in the NL East for the next couple of years. And that also includes, even though the Olsen trade was a couple of days ago, the Braves got to we have to face Olsen for the next 8 years. The other news we were waiting for wondering why we haven't heard much rumors before the last 2 days was Seiya Suzuki, the Japanese outfielder superstar that was coming from Japan. It was very, we heard things about Seattle, that San Diego actually had an offer and a deal ready to go, and then it wasn't true. And then we heard that Seiya Suzuki is signing with the Chicago Cubs for 5 years, $85 million. That is $17 million guaranteed. And that's for a guy that, if he can perform the way he does in Japan, it's a bargain. But if he doesn't, it's a lot of money they are wasting. But I still think Suzuki's going to be a good player. That is good for the Chicago Cubs. The next one, we're going right back to the NL East with the Braves. Eddie Rosario, which I thought the Mets might be interested in. He got 2 years, $18 million, $9 million per year with the Atlanta Braves. And those are the signings, the big signings that, we know the names of. I'm not going to talk about many minor league signings, except for the ones that are today, because that's basically what happened today, most of them. Also, Toronto traded for Matt Chapman, and the Reds trade Amir Garrett to the Royals for Mike Minor. So that's the recap of yesterday. And now we're going to go really quickly into what happened today. So outfielder Corey Dickinson, another guy I thought the Mets would actually look at maybe as another bench role. Corey Dickinson signs with the St. Louis Cardinals. Former Met Jonathan VR signed with the Chicago Cubs. The Mets have signed Zhu Wei Lin to a minor league deal. Not a big name, just bringing it out there. Archie Bradley to the Angels. And also, the Cubs also signed former Met Robert Gsellman. So that is basically everything that we heard today and of yesterday. So that was just to recap you guys and update you guys on today. So when you are here, we can talk about whatever I just spoke about, and we will go from there. So you know what I'm going to say, guys? Say what up to everybody in the comments. So give me a chance. There is 85 people in the stream at the moment, and I really appreciate everybody that's in the stream right now. Couldn't do it without you, but don't forget, guys, hit on that like button, guys. We'll be here for the next couple of hours. Let's hope there's some momentum with signings, especially the big four bats that are still out there that we are going to talk about. And I'm leaning towards somebody once again that I have a feeling the Mets are actually still going to have a chance to bring back, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But we're going to go into the chat right now. Aiden, Darryl, Fernando, Steven, Beckham, Joe, Al, Ciro, Lindor, The Blind Beard, LA Lakers, Sean, a member of Talkin Mets and Rob, Nick, Nelson, Frank, keep going. Let's see. Matthew, Michael, Danny, Al, Webbs, Paolo, La Potencia, Tegman, Steven, Marcus, Michael, Timothy, Frank again. Let's see. Christian and another Frank. All right, guys. So say what's up in the chat, guys. Don't be shy if you're watching. If you can actually type on your phone or type in the chat, please do. Do not be afraid. Doesn't matter if you're a Met fan or not. This is the free forum for all baseball fans to voice your opinions and voice your frustrations or voice your happiness based on what your team has done or has not done. And that's why we're here, to voice our opinions, guys. But do not be shy to voice those opinions. We are here to talk about it and to discuss exactly why or why not your team didn't get a certain player. So, Aiden, we're going to start with you. Are Yankees still talking to Oakland about Manaea and Montas? As of yesterday, yes. I mean, we haven't really heard anything. It's basically gone like completely silent, besides a few minor league deals, nothing crazy. So today has just been a weird day, like nothing at all. You know, I know tomorrow's technically a big day, the start of spring training in quotations, officially. So some teams have games, some don't. Most play on Saturday and the rest play on Sunday. So, you know, it's getting to the point where everybody's getting ready for games, competition against another team, or in the Mets case, a scrimmage against each other, which is nice to see. So we haven't heard anything, at least today. If you guys heard anything, let me know in the chat. But I'm a little. We heard it yesterday, and then it just got quiet. So we'll still see. I think the Yankees do need another pitcher, so it does make sense that the Yankees actually look at one of those pitchers. But I think they have a better shot of getting Sean Manaea than they do Frankie Montas. All right, Daryl, let's see what you got. You think Jays will be able to get Ramirez from the Guardians? I was surprised Brian got more money than Freeman. Well, technically he got more money, but average annual value, Freeman got $1 million more per year. But, you know, the total, yes. With the Jays, with Ramirez, we heard it a couple of days ago that as soon as the Chapman trade went down, that the Blue Jays are already starting to look at Jose Ramirez. And then a lot of people started backtracking on that because we saw what the A's got back from Matt Olson. And you can only assume that that's probably going to be a similar package that the Braves gave up is what you probably have to give up for Jose Ramirez. And you can put some people can say Matt Chapman is better. Some say Ramirez is better, but at the end of the day, it's probably going to cost just as much. So if Toronto, you know, they already gave a couple of prospects for Chapman, could they give more? I mean, because they're clearly going for it. I can see that, but I think it's really it's doubtful in my opinion because it's just so much to give. And yeah, obviously the Blue Jays are going for it. Chapman still has control left. Ramirez has control left. So these prospects are really not going to be worried about until the next probably 2, 3, maybe 4 years. So I think it actually makes sense to try, but I don't think it's going to happen. Fernando, I guess I could say I jinxed it. I wanted Bryant from day one. So I completely understand that. Steven says Pirates need to make deals. Steven, you've always been a part of the stream for a while. I understand that, but let's be honest. I mean, what deal or move they would make to make them any better in the Central, honestly? You know, you got an extremely cheap owner, and it's kind of sad because you got a great ballpark. But, I mean, I don't know if they're going to make any, to be honest with you. You probably see a lot of young players come up. Daniel says, we do not need Bryant. We already have McNeil and $25 million cheaper. You see, I know some people say that. I like McNeil, but until McNeil goes back to his 2019, somewhat of 2020 status, it doesn't really do anything for me, guys. Because I don't, you know, if McNeil's going to be a 260, 250 hitter, you know, hitting 12 home runs, this is not a guy you can, you know, trust in your lineup, especially with a lineup, as we've been talking about over the last week and a half, or as soon as the lockout ended, we were talking about this. That if McNeil is in this lineup and he played the way he did last year, besides Escobar, there's not a lot of power in this lineup besides Alonso. And Alonso's the power bat. Escobar's in between that power bat, but he's more of a line drive gap-to-gap hitter, even though he a lot of home runs last year, but I just don't see that big bat that's going to help Alonso, because you're going to see a lot of times these pitchers are going to pitch around Pete Alonso to get to the less threatening hitter. So, but we'll see. Joe, what's up? Al, what's up? Yeah, bye to Freeman. But Olsen is just as good, if not better. So we have to worry about him for 8 years. Chris Bryant, I'm glad he's not in the NL East, because he'll probably kill us if he was. Lindor, do you think we go after Trevor Story or Conforto? If everybody's not understanding what he meant, it's the Mets. Trevor Story, absolutely not. Conforto is interesting now because with the Rockies, Seattle, and the Dodgers making all these moves, the West Coast teams I thought were going to be very interested in Michael Conforto, and I actually said this was the Rockies and Seattle, and Seattle made a trade for Jesse Winker, so that's out of the question. The Dodgers obviously got Freeman, and the Rockies just signed Bryant, so all those teams are probably out of Conforto. So I'm backtracking and saying, why not give Conforto a 1-year deal? Would he take a 1-year deal that's near the qualifying offer? Maybe a little bit more. I don't see why it can hurt us. It can't hurt us. That's the way I see it. It can't hurt us. And I say, why not at this point? Could the Mets look at Castellanos? I don't think they're going to go that route. Correa is a non-starter, most likely. Probably doubt it, but it's probably like a 2% chance of that. And it's interesting because I don't really know why Conforto it's taking so long for him to sign. The big boys are off the market, so it's about time for him to sign at some point. But I can even see the Cubs taking a chance on Michael Conforto as well. They seem like they're technically rebuilding, but they're making these moves that are costing them money. They already spent over $160 million on Suzuki and Stroman alone. So, I mean, if they're not going for it, then what are they doing? They're spending $160 million just to be in third place in the NL Central. Makes no sense. But I think Conforto is. I think the Mets are gonna come back around with Michael Conforto. The Blind Beard, how you doing, buddy? LA Lakers, Carlos Correa. I don't know, buddy. I don't know. Let's see what else you got. Yes, Nelson Hickey, happy St. Patrick's Day to everybody who might not be Irish, or if you just like beer, you're Irish. So, so thank you, Nelson. The Blind Bear a little messed up today. I'm exhausted, honestly. With work, I'm exhausted. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I'm exhausted. I do sound a little messed up. I'm sorry about that. Being live for over like, I think it's like 89 hours over the last week and a half. The voice is getting a little rough, but that's okay. Frank Matos, thumbs up. Hit on that like button, guys. Don't forget. All right, what else we got? Oh yeah, I'm sorry. What happened was I didn't plug my mic in all the way. I left it out for a second when I sat down. So, but that's okay. But now we're okay. Everybody can hear me better now. Frank, 1 year, $40 million for Correa. I think he's gonna go back to the Astros at this point. For a long-term deal. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I think I just saw something about the Orioles. So according to Michael Kay, on the Michael Kay show, the Baltimore Orioles have made the highest offer to Carlos Correa. So that is interesting. So we're going to keep on looking at that and see where that goes. So I'm going to put that up there so people who are coming in can see what's going on. Just give me a second, guys. I keep on getting to your comments. All right. So there we go. So the news that just came in, guys, about Carlos Correa is that the Baltimore Orioles have made a huge offer for Carlos Correa. We've heard that the Astros owner and the Astros front office came back around and started speaking to Correa over the last couple of days. And it seemed like, it was like a match made in heaven, like it was going to come back. It was just going to be the way it is. Getting Correa back, even the Astros players were getting pumped up and excited hearing about that when all hope seemed lost of him going back to the Astros and even him putting up his home for sale in Houston. But now the Baltimore Orioles has made a huge offer to Carlos Correa. So this might pick up quick, guys. So I'll keep you posted on that, and just make sure we don't lose any. Make sure we get all the news that we need to get. All right. What else we got? I don't know if Jeff McNeil is better than Chris Bryant. I mean, Chris Bryant has a track record of 7 years in the league. McNeil has like 3.5. We got to slow down. In 2019, Jeff McNeil was one of the best hitters in the game in the first half. In the second half, he dropped his average 40 points. Yes, his home runs went up, but his average went drastically down. He still batted 300 in 2020, but what I've been telling you guys, I'm not a big advocate of looking at the 2020 season at all, because if that was the case, why isn't Michael Conforto getting a 7-year, $180 million deal? Because he had a crappy year last year, right? No, most Met fans don't want Conforto after what he did last year. But McNeil had just as bad as year, but everybody wants McNeil to be on this team. You know, you can't have it both ways. You can't not have Conforto because of his year last year, but then you disregard last year and you want McNeil, and then you say, "Oh, look at his 2019 numbers." Okay, fine. Look at Conforto's 2019 numbers. Look at both their 2019 and 2020 numbers. It's kind of hard to pick one over the other when they both had terrible years last year. But everybody just assumes that Jeff McNeil is going to go back to his 2019 first half self. And I don't tend to believe that. Do I want that? Of course, it's going to help my team. But there's no guarantee that Jeff McNeil is going to completely revamp his hitting style again to the guy he was in the first half of 2019. If he was, I will eat my damn words and be like, damn, he shut me up. But again, McNeil's got to show it. He had a hard time last year putting bat on the ball. He struck out so much. He wasn't clutch. He was just the McNeil that nobody thought we would see. And let's hope he is that 2019 McNeil, because this team needs it. Yeah, Matthew, I understand. You know, it is what it is at this point. You know, again, you don't win a World Series by the names on the paper. You play on the field. So, and we've seen this over the last couple of years, and I've been banging the drum on this every stream. It always comes down to the hottest team at the end of the year that seems to make a run and win a World Series. You know, when was the last time? And let's not count 2020, guys. Please don't tell me about the Dodgers. I can't stand 2020. I mean, it just didn't make sense. You know, 2020 is so weird that the Kansas City Royals could have won the World Series with their terrible team, or the Pittsburgh Pirates. You know, the Dodgers couldn't get over the hump with all the talent they have in a real season, in a 162 game season, in the grind of the 162. 60 games, and then everybody's praising them like they all of a sudden they're the greatest team ever put together is now World Series champions. Can they do it this year? Let me see them do it this year, and then I'll shut my mouth. Like, the team on paper that looks the best, when was the last time they won a championship? You know, you can look at the Astros who cheated. All right, they had a really good roster, but they weren't the best team in the playoffs. The Dodgers, on paper, were always the best team over the last 5-6 years, and they won in a shortened pandemic year. So it really doesn't matter if the Dodgers are stacked, the Braves are better. It really doesn't matter. Did the Braves, were they the best team last year? No. I mean, it's crazy to me. They lost their best player, but what happens? They made the right moves during the deadline. Everybody got hot. The pitching staff got hot, and they rode it right to the World Series, and they won. All you have to do is be hot at the right time, and you'll have a pretty damn good chance. Any team would have a better chance than the best team in the Dodgers that are obviously favored to win the World Series. But anytime there was a long season of 162, the Dodgers fell short. And guess what? And when the Dodgers were always have that better team, when they face the Mets in the playoffs, they can't beat the Mets. You want to go over the years? No, I'm not going to bore you with that because you guys, if you're Met fans and if you're Dodger fans, you know, besides 1988, the Dodgers have not beaten the Mets in the playoffs. So, granted, that doesn't mean nothing, but at the end of the day, the Dodgers haven't won since then, and then 2020 is a shortened season. So, again, if you're a fan of that team that won in 2020, you should celebrate it. But when somebody comes at you and says it was a shortened season and there's no grind of the season, well, I mean, it's gonna look at as a bullcrap type of championship, and that's what it is. Even if the Mets would have won it, I would have said that. I'm honest with you guys. I don't care about that. But at the end of the day, the Dodgers are stacked. The Braves got a hell of a lot better. But that means absolutely nothing until you play 162 games. Danny G, that's possible. They did lose out on Freddie Freeman, and I could have seen them maybe going after. They talked about Trevor Story as well, possibly moving over to second. They spoke to his agent to see if he would move to second base. That might be an option for the Red Sox too. The Red Sox need to make a move. Webbs, I know you're happy with Chris Bryant. Yeah, Webbs. I'm sorry. If the Mets would have done that, I would have been very upset. Even though I wanted Chris Bryant, and all you guys know, I have not been hiding that I wanted Chris Bryant. I wanted Chris Bryant over almost every bat that was a free agent. But it's crazy to me. Like, I couldn't believe that when I saw that. I had to take a double take. Like, I looked at it, I'm like, whoa, they did not just give him that. And then I looked, I'm like, you got to be kidding me. That is ridiculous for a team that's not going nowhere. At best, might be third place if everything goes right. If the Giants don't perform the way that I think they could. They're a fourth place team. It makes no sense to me. Like, this whole CBT was based around teams not tanking. And teams that are always the worst teams in baseball try to win. But the CBT and the players didn't fight for a team that everybody knows is going to be in fourth place to spend $182 million on a guy who probably shouldn't have got more than 140. And if you guys go back to all my Chris Bryant videos, I never had an offer more than 6 years, 140. That was the most I went. And he got almost $23 million more than that. That's insane. Yeah, Frank, look, I know he said that, and I think he will. Again, there's still guys out there. I don't think anybody should be surprised if he brings back Conforto on a 1 year, $20 million, closer to qualifying offer. And that, guess what? That puts you over 290. So, and I still think, I don't know what the Mets are doing with left-handers. I mean, they seem like they're getting like bargain basement left-handers. They signed Chase and Shreve. They're talking about David Peterson possibly being that left-hander in the bullpen, which I don't agree with. I'd rather him just go to the minors and work on being a starter just in case if we need him. And then, other guys, you got Claudio, you got Mike Montgomery that they signed the other day. It's not guys that are going to, get you excited. But again, we all know this, and I've been saying this every stream. Bullpens are volatile. No matter what names you have, probably with the exception of a Josh Hader or a Jose Iglesias. I'm not Rafael Iglesias. I'm sorry. Guys like that, everybody else is a crapshoot, no matter what their name is. And you can talk about Hendricks and Kimbrel, guys like that who pitch pretty well and probably the best relievers in the game. Other than that, everybody's a crapshoot. So it's just a matter of if that bullpen is going to perform this year. That's basically it. Paolo signing Castellanos for the Padres. I mean, the Padres need help. I mean, they're in trouble in that West, in my opinion. They're really in trouble. I mean, The Giants are making moves. I mean, not crazy big moves, but they're making moves. They basically signed a lot of pitchers to basically fill out that rotation, and the Dodgers are just stacked. Oh yeah, absolutely. And it's funny. I saw a couple of people tweeting after that deal came out that they were saying, "Oh, there is a full no trade clause in that deal, by the way. So the Rockies can't trade him unless he gives them his approval. So for everybody who's thinking, oh, they're gonna trade him in 2 years just to get something back with that contract, and then he's gonna get older. Maybe a team 2-3 years from now that are just looking for that one bat to get him over the hump in July at the deadline, and he might have proved to maybe like 2 or 3 teams. That's maybe what would happen, but it really makes no sense to me. It doesn't. And yeah, he's gonna hit 35 plus bombs in that stadium, and his average is gonna go up. His base hit percentage is gonna go up. Everything's gonna go up, and everybody's gonna be like, "Oh, I told you so." And then you realize he's in Colorado and with the thin air. And I'm going to Colorado in May when the Mets play with the 7 line. So I'll give him a nice little boo bird for everybody. A lot of potential. A lot of people lost out on Chris Bryant to a rebuilding team. I mean, I'm sorry. I don't care if Chris Bryant put the contract or the offer in front of Steve Cohen and says, "If you match this, I'll be a Met." Steve Cohen probably would laugh at him, like, no. And I'm glad the Mets didn't give him that contract. Not that money is the issue anymore. It's just the fact that no matter how much money your owner has, there's always still a budget. And to be locked up on a guy who is going to be 31 when the season starts, not saying he wouldn't be good for the first probably 3, possibly 4 years, but the back end of that contract is absolutely going to be terrible. Absolutely going to be terrible. Tegman, I tend to agree. I think they're a solid lineup. Then they're by far a great lineup. And I've already said this over the last half hour. I think the Mets need another power bat. And even if it is Conforto, you can still expect 20 to 25 home runs. Even in a bad year, you can expect that. So I just think they need a little bit of protection for Alonso, because I'm telling you guys, Pete Alonso is going to get walked, going to get pitched around, and they'd rather face somebody else. They'd rather face Escobar. They'd rather face McNeil or whoever's going to be behind Pete Alonso. They're not going to pitch to him, especially with runners on base. They're just not going to pitch to him. Why would you pitch to him when he's the biggest threat in that lineup? It doesn't make sense. Oh, yeah, Nick. The Cubs signed Robert Gonzalez. Well, Marcus, that's the thing. Yes, they got a great lineup, but their pitch staff is not that good. Burley is awesome, but it's very, I wouldn't say mediocre, but they're okay. They're gonna have to beat teams 8-6, 7-5. They're gonna score a lot of runs, but their pitch staff is gonna give up a lot of runs. And at this moment, they have really nobody in their bullpen. They still haven't signed Kenley Jansen. At this moment, why would I believe that? Everybody's, oh, look at the lineup. Okay, can we talk about the rotation? Can we talk about the bullpen? We're gonna look at it really quick. We're gonna look at their bullpen. All right, so another pitcher went off the board, a reliever that I thought the Mets would look at, Ryan Tepera. As you guys know, that Andrew Chafin and Ryan Tepera is the 2 guys I wanted the Mets to get. The Angels just signed Ryan Tepera, so they're building up their bullpen. Definitely out there with Archie Bradley and Ryan Tepera. And they got the closer Iglesias, who was one of the best in the game. They are looking for that bullpen help, and the Angels are getting their pitching that they need. All right, let's see. What else do we got? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to look at the Dodgers rotation and bullpen. Let's see, because I'm curious to look at it just to see, because I know I'm not I don't feel like I'm mistaken. Who knows with Trevor Bauer? He might get suspended. Fine. But let me just look at something else. There we go. That's what I was looking for. Nope. Okay. Keep going. All right. There we go. All right. So let's see. Sorry, guys. I'm just trying to get a better visual because some of them just have it down the line and it's kind of annoying to look at. All right. This is what I was looking for. Okay. So here's the rotation for at the moment for the Dodgers. Walker Buehler, which we all know, really, really damn good. Julio Urias, I mean, he's pretty good, but I mean, he's not great. Tony Gosselin, Andrew Haney, and Trevor Bauer, which who knows if Bauer's even going to pitch. And they're relief pitching. They got Daniel Hudson. Okay, not bad. Alex Vesia, Phil Bickford, Brusdar Gradiol, he's one of the better pitchers, and Justin Bruel. I mean, it's not a great pitching staff. And Blake Trinan is their closer. I mean, that's basically it. Like, if you're looking at the rotation, the Mets have a better rotation than the Dodgers. Right away, you're looking at it. And the bullpen, again, I don't like looking at bullpen nose and just thinking they're going to be good. But let's be honest, the Mets and the Dodgers bullpen is probably basically almost on the same level. I would give the Dodgers a little bit of an edge on that. But the Dodgers rotation is not that good. So unless they win games 9-8, 8-7, they're going to have a hard time with their rotation unless they do something else. Let's see. What else do you guys have? And yes, Christian, that's right. That was one guy I forgot. I passed up on that. I saw that. Yeah. Travis Jankowski, he did play for the Phillies last year. A lot of potential. Doesn't want Conforto. Yeah, Marcus. So, I feel like they're going to sign Jansen. I mean, they need that extra arm. They got Trinan as their closer, but, again, I just read it to you. The rotation is not great. Their bullpen is, average at best. So, that's the other issue that you have to look at too. Everybody's so enamored with their lineup, obviously. But we always see it in the playoffs. Pitching beats good hitting every single time. Every single time. The Braves didn't win just on their offense. Their pitching staff figured it out, and they pitched great during the playoffs throughout the World Series. Michael, I might have missed that comment that you were talking. Michael Scott, I'm sorry. Drunk Hispanic says Mets aren't going anywhere. You might be right. I can't deny that opinion. I can't. A lot of potential. Get rid of Smith, McNeil, Davis, and don't bring back Conforto. I want all the players part of the underachieving Mets team gone. Well, you got to replace those guys. And honestly, who are you going to replace them with that are probably on the same level? So at this moment, I don't think they're going anywhere. La Potencia. Yeah, Lolo, it's possible. Correa to the Orioles is possible. Apparently, they gave Correa an offer, a huge offer. Now, we don't know exactly what it is yet, but apparently it's a huge offer. And that's what I'm waiting for. I'm waiting to hear something about that or see something on Twitter that I can tell you guys. So, that would be another insane, weird signing by another team that's going to go nowhere in their division. Let's see. Just checking out Twitter really quickly, and I'll get back to your comments. Yep. All right, cool. So that's about it. Will Maddox, how you doing, buddy? Polo. Okay, thank you. Okay, cool. I wasn't 100% sure. Well, Michael, I mean, apparently they're in on Sean Manaea and Frankie Montas. I think you probably have a better shot at Manaea than Montas because, I mean, I don't see them actually giving up the prospects it's probably required to get Montage. Sean Manaea is probably probably a reasonable package going to the A's to get Manaea. Again, even if you get Manaea, I still don't think the rotation is pretty good. Herman just went on a 60-day IL, so now you lose him. I know he probably he might have been one of the 5 starters, but now he's on a 60-day IL, so that's one guy you're already losing. Yeah, Joshua, I understand that, and I understand players want to get paid. And yes, it's closer to Vegas, his hometown, but I mean, he could have probably gone to a contending team and probably got a 6-year deal worth like 150, 160. I just don't understand. Yeah, okay, $30 million more is a lot of money, yes, but to get $160 million and have the potential of being on contenders and winning, clearly. And I put this tweet out. Whoever follows me on Twitter saw it. Players talk about they want to win. They want to do everything they can to win. And then you see Chris Bryant sign with the Colorado Rockies. You didn't see Freddie Freeman go to the Orioles or the Royals or the Pirates. You didn't name a player who signed that took the money and are playing on a bad team. Chris Bryant's the only one at the moment. Now, if Correa signs with the Orioles, I really don't know what the hell's going on anymore. And the CBT and what the players fought for wasn't for a bad team to sign one big player for whatever amount of money. They want them to not tank. The Rockies getting Chris Bryant are still tanking, even if it doesn't look like they're tanking. They are. And that's the same thing with the Orioles with Correa. Yes, they got a ton of guys in their farm system that are going to be up in the next year to 3 years, but there's no guarantee they're going to be good. So I don't care what these players say anymore, honestly. Chris Bryant took the money and ran, and he don't care if he wins. So to me, I don't see him as a winning player, and that was the guy I wanted. YOLO, I'm waiting for that package too, but it's going to be a huge package. Huge package that will go back to the Guardians, because look at the Olsen trade and what the Braves gave up, and that's probably similar what you're gonna have to give up. Drunk Hispanic? Are you a Yankee fan? I'm curious. No, I just don't think that the Mets wanted to pay that price. They probably heard about what the Rockies were probably offering them, and they were like, nah. I guarantee you, if he was getting offered around 5 or 6 years, around 130 to 140, I think the Mets would have been in it. Honestly, I would. Let's see. All right, just checking Twitter really quick. I got a notification about a signing. Give me 1 second. Okay, so they're just giving the deals. The Ryan Tepera deal is 2 years, $14 million. So that's $7 million per year. And apparently the Mets didn't want to go do that. So let me keep on looking at the comments, guys. Listen, Blind Bread, Frank, I know you guys are rooting on McNeil. I'm rooting for McNeil too. I hope he has a great year. I hope he does. Look, let him eat. I'll eat my words in a heartbeat if he has a great year. I'll be extremely happy. Who do you think who's better, Mets or Phillies this year? I'm a Mets fan. I still think the Mets are. I think the Phillies, especially with the uncertainty of Wheeler and his shoulder issue. I still don't think the Phillies have a good bullpen. Their starting rotation is not deep at all. Yes, they got Schwarber to help out with Harper offensively, but I still think the Mets are better than the Phillies at this point. Michael, I haven't seen the Cardinals make any moves, honestly. Yeah, drunk history. I know you keep on like bashing the Mets, but you should focus on your team. You know, the cheap owner all of a sudden, which you just said, the cheap owner all of a sudden, and getting Donaldson and Rizzo. I mean, I don't know, but you know what? You guys feel like how Met fans feel all those years, so you can live in your misery, honestly. Because the Yankee fans who always were puffing out their chest all those years, spending out money and spending on big players and everything, and won a championship in 2009. I'm shocked the Yankees didn't do more. Honestly, I really am. I just don't get it. I just don't get it. Like, but that's all your owner right there. That's for sure. Rich, I just don't see that happening with Castellanos or Story. Definitely not Story, but Castellanos maybe, but I just don't see it. Nah, Webbs, I'm telling you right now, the Mets were trying to get him for 2 years in a trade. So you cannot tell me that the Mets weren't looking into Chris Bryant. They knew the offers that were coming out on Chris Bryant. I wouldn't go that far, and they clearly didn't want to go that far, and that's okay. I wouldn't want. I would have been upset, happy with the player, but upset that they would have given him that type of contract. That would have been insane. Sweaty, we're not going to get Mullins. If the Orioles are going to sign Correa, they're not trading Mullins. Sweaty, yep. Just this weekend's going to be nice with baseball back. All right, let's see. All right, so we're getting a little bit of news on Nick Castellanos. The Phillies have a lot of interest in Nick Castellanos and his hometown and the Marlins as well. So the Marlins and the Phillies, two NL East teams, are showing interest in Nick Castellanos. So we are getting some details right now about Correa possibly getting a huge offer from the Orioles, and now Nick Castellanos showing again a lot of interest from the Phillies and the Marlins. Habs Ramirez is not a J yet. Soler is still out there. For anybody basically, it's just a matter of who's gonna get what. There's still a couple of guys out there, like mid-level free agents that you could see teams getting. Okay. So just to recap, apparently, according to multiple reports, the Orioles are making a huge offer to Carlos Correa. We'll see what it is. We're still waiting for that. And the Phillies and the Marlins are showing a lot of interest in Nick Castellanos. Well, I mean, if the Orioles are going to give him a ton of money, I mean, he already turned down a $300 million deal for 10 years. So I'm assuming it's going to be more than that from any team. Bobby Correa back to Houston? I don't know. The Orioles are pushing to get him for some reason. Oh, yeah, Correa. Frank, I don't know what he's going to do in Baltimore. I honestly don't know. I lose a lot of games, that's for sure. But it's been very quiet on the Mets front, and the NL East teams are getting better as we speak. Gord, he's going to get suspended. How many games, I don't know, but for sure, he's going to get suspended a few games. But Bauer's not that good. I'm glad the Mets didn't give him all that stupid money. And yes, Mega, absolutely, they actually do need to get more bullpen help. I agree with that. No, Webbs, I'm not ignoring your comments. There's a lot of comments going around here. I'm not ignoring them. Don't worry about that. You know how much I like Chris Bryant. Just because you don't like him doesn't mean I'm going to ignore your comments. That's for sure. And that's the funny thing, O'Rourke. Absolutely. There was a ton of people that were bashing McNeil, and I was one of them. And I'm still one of them. Like I said, what I was saying before. People can't wait to throw out Michael Conforto over last year, but they won't throw McNeil out after as bad as year as Conforto had, and they rather keep McNeil because 3 years ago McNeil was a great hitter. I'd rather have the power. I'd rather have a guy that I know it can drive in runs, and I don't know if McNeil could do that. Why in 3.5 years? He had one good year, one bad year. But everybody looks to McNeil's good year and says, oh, he's going to be that. I hope he is, but I don't know. I just don't know. Jesus, Red Sox. All right. Well, the Mets sucked. I mean, the Mets had no pitching. They had DeGrom. Everybody was hurt. Syndergaard, Tommy John, Stroman opted out. We had no pitching. We threw David Peterson in the rotation. But again, I wouldn't say all the teams had the same opportunity. Yeah, of course. That's every year. But to make it seem like, oh, the Dodgers went through the grind of 162. Come on. Like, the Dodgers have been the best team on paper in baseball, the best odds to win for the last 6 years. 1 and 2 when it comes to odds, and they could never get over the hump. And the Dodger fan has to realize, until you win a World Series, until in a 162 game season, you don't have a leg to stand on. You've had a great team every year for the last 6 years with a stacked lineup and a rotation that, oh, by the way, the last couple of years was better than your rotation this year. Because we just went over your rotation. Your rotation is not that good. Your bullpen's not that good. So, as good as your lineup is, as great as your lineup is, let me correct myself. The Dodgers lineup is good overall. Absolutely. They're great overall. But again, what does that really mean? We see it every year. Good pitching beats good hitting all the time. It always happens. Always happens. Larry, yeah, I know. I don't know what's going on. They're getting that legal. They're getting them legal drugs, them legal weed, and everybody must be high out there. That's what I'm saying. That's the only thing I can think of. No, I'm not mad that they're contenders, but they've been a great team for how many years? And they still won once. But every year they had the best odds to win, they choked. And they beat the Rays in 2020. I mean, if you want to give all the credit to the Dodgers for winning the 2020 season, go ahead, but I'm not. And that would go for any team. And yes, my team. Nobody says you can't be happy that your team won the World Series if you're a Dodgers fan. Because I'm not going to sit here and say I wouldn't have been happy if the Mets would have won the 2020 World Series. I would have been happy as a fan. But you can't be, as a Dodger fan, and be happy, or you can be happy as the championship. But can you actually say that it was a real season, a real World Series? Come on. I mean, you didn't have to travel. You stayed in one ballpark, possibly, or you stayed in two ballparks. There was no traveling. You were both in never had to travel, no matter what stadium you were at. You know, it would have been a huge difference if you had to travel across country and play your team and travel that way. But no, you stayed in one team, and then the greatness showed in the World Series that you barely beat the Rays. By the way, I mean in the 2020 season. So I'm not bitter. Look, I love for my team to be a contender every year, but that hasn't happened. I'm not lying to you. It's facts. You Dodger fans were running in the street, jumping on cars and burning crap for a 60-game season. Drunk Hispanic, we'll see. But you know what? Win it again. Okay, great. And they'll win. And in the record books, they'll win 2. In reality, it's only 1. Yeah, Marcus, look. There is no doubt that the odds to win the World Series, the best team is the Dodgers. But let me remind everybody that when was the last time the best team on paper won the World Series? I mean, go back year after year after year. I mean, you want to do it? We'll do it. The Braves weren't the best team on paper to win. 2020, the Dodgers were the best team on paper, but it was 2020, shortened season. If you followed my channel for a long time, I throw out stats for 2020, MVPs, great years. You know who had great years for the Mets in 2020? Michael Conforto and Dominic Smith. How are they doing now? I throw it out. 2019, the Nationals. They were terrible in the first half, but they weren't the best team on paper. You can just keep on going. 2018, the Red Sox. 2017, the Astros. 2016, the Cubs, who technically weren't the best team on paper. It was also the Dodgers and the Yankees. It wasn't the Cubs. They were good, but they weren't the best team. 2015, the Royals weren't the best team. Christian, I agree with that 100%. The buys are going to hurt teams. You see it a lot with other sports. Like football teams who have a buy, that when they have the best record, they come, they're not as good, they're not as sharp. But I mean, it is gonna suck. I expect the Dodgers to blow that NL East. NL West to oblivion. I can see the Dodgers winning 104 games, 105 games easily. They got, I still don't think the Padres, yes, they're getting their rotation fully healthy for the most part, but I don't think anybody else has a shot to win that division. The Dodgers are the best team in baseball. They show it every year during the season. And they're a good team. Absolutely. But that bye is going to hurt teams, no matter who they are. Yes, you can rest, you can set up your rotation perfectly, but that doesn't mean much at all. I mean, they're really gonna, maybe the Dodgers will do something by the deadline to pick up a pitcher or two. But yeah, that bye is really going to hurt teams for sure. You got to sit around for 4 days before you start when the other team has already, got the momentum of winning that wild card round and now going into the division series while you guys were sitting there. Yes, they're rested. Set up your rotation. Anybody who's got injuries can relax a little bit, but those buys they're gonna cause problems for sure. Nah, Webbs, I don't ignore. Come on, guys. It's Webb. I don't ignore comments. If I'm going past your comment, it's basically either somebody else said it or it's just a comment directly to the chat. Vertigo says Correa to the Pirates for 10 years, $350 million. Well, as weird as this offseason has been, why not, right? O'Rourke, I know the age difference, but in what world does KB get a larger deal than Freddie Freeman? I mean, you kind of answer your own question, but I understand what you mean. It's the age difference. Freddie Freeman's a couple of years older. But yeah, again, KB doesn't deserve that contract. I'm sorry. Do you think Michael Conforto makes sense for the Blue Jays? That's a good one. I mean, it couldn't hurt, right? It will make your team better. I mean, he's not great, but I mean, I could see him going there. But yeah, I don't. I also know that Michael Conforto is not vaccinated, and in Canada, you're kind of you're not allowed in the country. So I mean, I know that's like completely off base with baseball in general, but it's something that can affect it if you're trying to sign somebody. So I could see that, but I don't think so. Johnny, everybody was saying that it feels like a fake season, like it was like a scrimmage. It was a sprint. Like if it was 100 games, I'll even go 90 games. That's still a couple of months. It's still a lot of games. 60 games was a joke. Like you snapped your fingers, the season was over. And on top of that, let's be honest, dude, does everybody remember the schedule? Or did everybody just forget? Remember, nobody was traveling across country. The Dodgers played the AL West and the NL West. The Giants weren't really good. Only the Padres were good in the NL West. The Rockies were terrible. I mean, the AL West, besides the Astros, nobody was good in that division. Seattle was terrible. The Angels were terrible. The Astros were pretty darn good. Besides that, they didn't have to face anybody. So they had a really good season because they faced Western teams that weren't very good, except for maybe two. The Mets did the same thing. The Mets should have made the playoffs in 2020, but they were garbage. Absolutely garbage. And we faced a lot of bad teams, and we were bad. The Marlins made the playoffs, for Christ's sake. But if you say, Johnny, that nobody's saying it was a cheapened season or complaining, you weren't hearing everybody. Look, any fan of a team that won the World Series in 2020 is going to have those blinders on and say, oh, we're world champions. Yeah, you're going to be a fan. You're going to love it. But take a step back and look just as a baseball fan. It's a garbage season. It really is. If you look at the stats and say, wow, that guy had a great year, you're really looking at that year and seeing that guy that had a great year? Michael Conforto can't even get a contract, and he had a great year in 2020. Dominic Smith had a great year in 2020, and Dominic Smith and Michael Conforto had terrible years, and now half the Met fans couldn't wait to get rid of Dominic Smith, and nobody wants to sign Michael Conforto. So 2020 is a garbage year. It really is. Mets' biggest problem. So before I get into anybody else's comment, and people, saying, oh, people are only complaining because the Dodgers won. You know how many more people would have complained if the Marlins would have won the World Series? What would they would have said? Oh, it's a 60-game season. It would have been the same thing. So no, it has nothing to do with the Dodgers. It has everything to do with the season, which everybody thought was a joke. Because if the Dodgers would have lost the World Series, they would have been like, oh, it's a 60-game season. That's a joke. And they would have said it like that. But because you won, you're not going to say that. All right, Webbs, have a good day, buddy. Larry, yeah. I don't. Apparently, there is opt-outs, and there's also a no trade clause in that. So again, he's left into the bank. Yeah, but I mean, great. He can win 75 games every year and watch the playoffs at home, and digging himself out in snow. So I'm going to look at Twitter really quick, guys, just to see what's going on. So at the moment, the Marlins and the Phillies are interested in Nick Castellanos, and apparently the Orioles have offered a huge contract to Carlos Correa. I'm just looking to get any more details on that, because if it's a huge deal and nobody really offered him anything close to that, he'll probably take it, but we just don't know yet. Let's see. All right. I'll continue with the comments, guys. Rocky, how you doing? No, Joaquin, I 100% agree. I think we need another bat. Absolutely. Absolutely. I tend to agree on that. And that's the biggest issue. You know, you don't always need an all-star at every position. We heard about that with the Yankees and the Dodgers. You don't need an all-star at every position. That doesn't guarantee you a championship. Epler's mindset, I guess, is let's get solid players, not great players, but solid players. I guess. I don't know. But we need more. That's 100% the truth. Yeah, it's not the best team. It's always the hottest team that get hot at the right moment at the end of the season, running into the playoffs. Alonso sucks. He's overrated. I wouldn't go that far. Is he a superstar? No, not yet. But he's not overrated. McNeil is a pain for the Braves. Well, in 2019, McNeil was a pain for everybody. But Morgan, there hasn't been news about the Blue Jays much at all over the last day or two. You already know the Chapman trade. I'm assuming they're still talking to the Guardians about Jose Ramirez, but we haven't heard any confirmation of that since the other day. Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna, yeah, again, look at that lineup. I did forget Kershaw. I forgot that he signed back. I looked at, yeah, I saw his name and I just didn't say it. Yeah, so I mean Kershaw. I mean, he's not the same Kershaw 5 years ago. Bueller is one of the better pitchers in baseball. Urias is good, not great. Gonsolin is pretty good. May halfway through, so it's not a great rotation. It's a good rotation, but they're going to score a lot of runs and they'll probably win a games because of that lineup. And your bullpen's not really that good. It's not. I like Trinan as your closer. He's pretty good. Maybe you'll bring back Kenley Jansen, but you don't have a lot of good guys in that bullpen either. Yeah, I think the Padres are going to have a down year. I think they're screwed. I really do. I really think the Padres are screwed. And I just don't like their the way their team's put together. They got a really good rotation, but those guys got to stay healthy as well. But I don't like the Padres at all. Yeah, Joaquin, I agree. They don't have no power besides Alonso, and that scares me. Uh, Turbo, 1 year deal. I would not give him no multi-year deal. Wouldn't trust it. I'll give him a 1 year show me deal. He has a great year. It helps the Mets, and he's probably gone after the year anyway. So I give him 1 year deal. If he doesn't take it, move on. Yeah, Eric, we said that earlier in the stream. A minor league deal. O'Rourke, I think the Angels are making smart moves. I like their bullpen pieces that they put together. They still need a little bit more starting pitching. Noah Syndergaard and Otani. Otani is really good. Obviously, he's great. Noah Syndergaard, we gotta see how he is after 2 years on the shelf. He pitched 2 innings last year for the Mets, so we'll see if he's healthy. He's gonna be pretty good. So they got two guys in that rotation, but they don't have a lot of depth. But the Angels are better. Johnny, I'm not. So now we're going on wins and losses that mean absolutely nothing for pitchers. I didn't say they were bad. Urias is good. He's not great. If you're going to say he's great, then you're fooling yourself. I'm sorry. And I'm not a big ass hater. I'm trashing my team as we speak. If I'm a hater, I would talk about the Mets winning the World Series. They're not good enough. Come on. Urias is not a great pitcher. He's a good pitcher. Bueller is a great pitcher. Kershaw is past his prime. He's not a great pitcher anymore. He'll have his moments, but that's it. I mean, Kershaw all time is a great pitcher. Yes. At this moment, you're lucky to get 23 starts from him with his back. Now, Urias can have a even better year than he had last year. But he's a good pitcher. He's a very good pitcher. But that's it. You can't call somebody a hater if they're bashing their own team. Makes no sense. Yeah, O'Rourke, exactly. It's full bullpen arms for sure. Yeah. Joaquin, I don't know their payroll offhand, but I mean, with the Freeman signing, it's probably past the Mets at this point. I think. Yeah. Like I said, I said you have a very, very excellent number two starters, but after that, you're counting on Kershaw to be healthy the whole year. Come on, I mean, you guys pay attention. Come on, you guys are not dumb. You guys are smart baseball fans. You know what's going on. Kershaw's probably going to pitch 23 games at best, missing. And when he has his moments, he's great. But they're far and few between at this moment. He pitches innings. He don't like the ball taken from him. He has a lot of damn heart. He's a Hall of Famer. He will be. But he's not the same pitcher he was 5 years ago. Johnny, I agree. I've said that. Did you hear what I said about my Mets? Come on. You don't have to tell me the Mets haven't won since 86. I know that. But you're the same fan that we're getting clamored about 88. You're the same boat until 2020. If you want to wave your flag for 2020, go ahead. You have every right to. You're a fan. You're supposed to. But you saying that it's not a real year, that it's a real year, you're fooling yourself. I'm sorry. Win in 2022, and then we can talk. How about that? The Dodgers every year choke in the playoffs, except for 2020, and they just beat out the Rays. And it was a year when you only played your Western teams. It was a playoffs where you played in two stadiums at most with no traveling. It's a lot easier when you have a guy in Kershaw who pitched great during the playoffs. But he didn't have to get on a plane, sit 5-6 hours on a plane with his back. Even Scherzer. You had Scherzer last year. One of the best pitcher in baseball. One of them had a subpar 3 ERA. And you didn't win. So what was the problem last year? I don't know. The Braves beat you. Who was better? The Dodgers, but you didn't win. 162 games. Guess what? The Dodgers choked again. The Mets choke every year. There's no denying that. But I'm not sitting here saying the Mets are winning the World Series. I'm not. Are they better than last year? Yes. On paper, yes. But that doesn't mean I'm going to tell them they're going to win 99 games because they're not. Dodger fans are acting like Yankee fans now. The Twins are working on a minor league deal for Chichi Gonzalez. So it's another minor deal that's probably going to go down. There's no such thing as tanking. You sure about that? Have you looked at what the Reds did and the A's did? Tanking. Same thing. These are the teams that don't want to win. The A's get glorified every year for doing what they do. Oh, they made the playoffs. Great. They never win. So the Billy Bean Moneyball model never works. It is tanking. The Rockies are still going to lose 90 games. The Pirates, 90 games. The Royals, 90 games. Just because the Rockies signed Chris Bryant doesn't mean they're actually going to win a lot of games. They're not. Teams are still tanking. Trust me, it's still the top 6 picks. The worst teams are either going to get 1 through 6, where you can find top level high school, college prospects in the top 6 of the draft. So 6 teams are going to be in a lottery. Even the worst team can get the 6th pick, which is you definitely can find one of the top ranked players in the country. So they can still tank. They're gonna tank. I don't see the Pittsburgh Pirates spending any money. The lottery is not going to stop teams from taking. It's just I understand the sentiment in that and trying to do something about it, but the same thing why the luxury tax was put into place was to give teams that don't have a lot of money or that don't make a lot of money in revenue get that luxury tax and spend it on your team. But owners found a loophole. I don't have to spend it on my roster. I can keep pocket it or put it elsewhere. That didn't stop tanking either. And the lottery is not going to stop teams from tanking. If they want to trade everybody and get worse, they will. The A's just showed you. The Reds just showed you. Defy, I agree. I wanted to pair really so much for the Mets. Him and Chafin. And Chafin went to the Tigers. Tapera went to the Angels. So sucks for the Mets, but good for you guys. Jose, how you doing, buddy? Yeah, I saw that. I think I don't see Correa taking that deal, 300 for 10, because the Astros offered him that. So if the Orioles up that offer, well, there you go. He's probably going to be an Oriole. The DeGrom couldn't stay healthy last year. Yes, I agree. Have you seen him in spring training? He looks healthy. Granted, he might not be, and I am concerned. But you're telling me about my pitching when you got Kershaw, who every year misses games. So I just don't understand. Chris, thank you. I appreciate it. And you're an asshole. So have fun. What contract should... Oh, I think I read that already. About contract. 1 year for Conforto, nothing more. Vertigo, that's cool. You're in Houston and being a Met fan. That's awesome. Gentlemen's hangout. Dodgers have a scary lineup. Exactly. 100%. Okay, but you can say that about any team that gave away players. You want to talk about the Twins and David Ortiz? It happens in baseball. It is what it is. It happens. It's called baseball. That's what happens. Teams give up on players all the time, and then they turn into something. It happens all the time. David Ortiz is a Hall of Famer. The Twins put him on waivers, just like the Mets did with Turner. It happens, guys. It happens. I mean, you're coming up with facts that are obvious. That's obvious. You can talk about Justin Turner. Clearly, you're a hater. Like you called me. You're a hater. But you won't admit that your rotation is not as good as everybody you think it is. It's just not. The Mets' depth rotation is better than the Dodgers at this moment. DeGrom, better than Buehler. Scherzer, better than Urias. Bassett is better than anybody else you have in that rotation. Besides Buehler and Urias. Again, I'm not saying the Mets are winning the World Series. I am not. That's I'd be smoking something if that's the case. They're not that good. They're better than they were last year. What is that saying? They're possibly a payoff team, wildcard team. I'm not sitting here telling you guys we're winning the World Series or we're the best team in baseball. Them odds that Vegas has as the Mets, the top 3 team to win a World Series? I don't know what the hell they're looking at because they're not top 3. Bauer is not that good. I mean, he's not. Buzz Talk, how you doing? And Bauer's going to get suspended. So we don't know how long he's actually going to be suspended for. Is he a good pitcher? Yeah, he's not great. He had 1 good year with the Reds. I mean, if you're a Dodger fan talking about Bauer, I mean, come on. Seriously? You have a better argument with Kershaw. Danny, man, that's cool. Yeah, Joseph, I know. The Angels are building up their bullpen 100%. Silva, I hope he does. That's one of your top prospects. You're probably right. He probably will make the hard thing. The thing that sucks, and that goes for every team when it comes to the shortened spring training and the late spring training. The teams have to play their starters to get them ramped up, especially the pitchers. And it sucks. And Andy Page is supposed to be excellent, top prospect. It sucks because how much playing time is he going to get during spring? That goes for the Mets with Beatty and Alvarez. They're not going to get a lot of playing time at all because they got to play the most likely players on the roster that are going to be in the season for the roster. It sucks. That was the best thing about the first week or two of spring training. You saw all the young kids, all your top prospects. And, they're probably playing on the backfields, but I would love to see him, see like Beatty face off against a top pitcher in the league, going after Burley or something like that. That would be great. But, because of the shortened spring training, you got to get your guys who are really going to be on your roster the reps, unfortunately. Edward, I don't think anybody thought Bryant was going to take a deal with the Rockies, and he did. Yeah, look, these guys are going to take the money, and I'm not going to fault them, but when they claim they want to win, they really don't. That's the way I see it. But Johnny, you're a hater too. Admit that you're a hater, and I'll admit that I'm a hater. When I'm telling you my team is not winning the World Series. Why aren't the Mets going after anybody else? I don't know. Maybe they seem happy with what they have. I don't believe it, but it is what it is. But who's bragging? I'm not bragging. Did you see me tell me that the Mets got better than what they were last year? I didn't say they were better than the Dodgers or better than the Braves. I didn't say that. But it's not jealousy. It's common sense. Come on, guys. If you're not going to agree that the season for 2020 was garbage, nobody's saying you're a fan, that you can't enjoy your championship. You can. But saying that it's not like it's a real season, it wasn't. It's 60 games, guys. Come on. Yeah, that'll be a nice deal for the Phillies. Absolutely. Another big bat in that lineup. And then you could really start talking that the Phillies have a better lineup than the Mets. With Schwarber, it's already probably them. Yep, the Phillies gotten better, and there's no doubt about that. It was a hard-earned championship. Okay, you want to believe it, you could say that. But I guarantee you, if the Marlins won the World Series, everybody would be like, "Oh, it's a garbage season." Your team won. You're gonna say that. It's okay. Johnny, I agree with you on that. The Dodgers draft great. Having, the 25th, the 26th, the 27th, the 30th pick almost every year. The organization is excellent in drafting players. I wish the Mets were like that. We've sucked, and we have high draft picks, and we still can't get it right. Not only do the Dodgers spend a ton of money, which Johnny, you would agree that doesn't win you a championship. But the guys you brought up, the kids, you draft well. That's something that is hard to find in good teams. You know what? You can look at the Yankees. They haven't drafted well, and they've been picking around where the Dodgers have been picking over the last, 10 years? The organization is excellent. Their ownership is excellent. They got the right people in the right spot for the right job. And the Dodgers absolutely are respected because of that. That's one thing I wish the Mets would have. Maybe they will in the coming years. I don't know. But the one thing the Dodgers have done, and Johnny, you're 100% right, the draft picks that they've made when they're basically the last few picks of any round, they've done an excellent job. Because that's not easy to do, especially in baseball. Drafting that low and still getting top prospects in your farm system, that's been an excellent job by the Dodgers. Jason, I would be glad for you Orioles fans, but what the heck? Like, why? Even if you are like 3 years away from like really being contenders with your prospects that come up and hopefully they perform and, have the stats that everybody thinks they're going to have and they're phenoms. But I mean, it's crazy. I mean, the Rockies are going to be a fourth place team with Chris Bryant. The Orioles are probably going to be dead last, even with Correa. I mean, good for the Orioles. I mean, Orioles fans will be happy. You can buy a jersey other than Mullins. But you know what? Good for you guys if you do it. I mean, he's going to take the money no matter what team it is. So just like every other player. Anil, if that's true, I haven't seen that. I know that was a report yesterday. So the people who were talking about Trevor Bauer, his administrative leave is getting pushed further to April 16th now. I think it was like the 7:38 or the 12th. So it's getting pushed back again. Let's see what else is on Twitter. All right, let's see. What do we got? All right, guys. Yep, not much going on, except for the Orioles being supposedly given a huge offer to Carlos Correa. That would be crazy if he goes there. And Nick Castellanos is getting a lot of interest from the Marlins and the Reds. I'm sorry, the Marlins and the Phillies. Trevor Story to San Francisco, unless he plays second base. Other than that, probably not. Edward, I hope so. Honestly, I mean, as a fan, you hope that your team does that, but the Phillies are getting better. The Braves are better, so. Sorry, guys, I'm catching up to the comments. I know I'm way behind. So if I don't see you, I'm sorry. I'm trying to catch up on all the comments. Jose, do you think the Yankees will pull the trade from Manaea? I think that's more likely than Montas. It's going to be less prospects. You got to take on that money. It's not a lot of money, but you get to take on Manaea's money. I think they could do it. I mean, we haven't heard anything today, but they were talking about it yesterday and the day before. Just Dodger farm system is stacked. Yep, great drafting, especially where you guys have been picking over the last 10 years. Angel, if they give him a huge contract and it's bigger than everybody else, he's going to Baltimore. No matter if anybody likes it or not, he'll go there. Grant, how you doing, buddy? A member of Talkin Mets or Rob? Albino, thank you so much for the donation, man. I really appreciate it. Yeah, Grant. We just, yeah. I just saw your comment when I talked about it a couple of minutes ago, but yeah, uh, yeah, it's they're gonna keep on pushing it back, and then at some point they're gonna suspend them. Derek, let me see if you wrote anything else. Let me see. I'm trying to look for your other comments. You have said twice that Correa turned down 300 million. That's false. And the Astros have not offered him. Yes, no, they offered him a $300 million deal last season during the season. He turned that down. If I'm mistaken, I think that's what he did. If you're right, if you heard more of that. Let's see. Jason, yes, Toronto is way better than the Mets. There's no doubt about that. Yeah, I agree. I thought they were going to make bigger moves. Honestly, I mean, they really didn't sign a big time free agent position player wise. I mean, yes, Marte was one of the better outfielders, or at least center fielders as a free agent. Fine, but besides Scherzer, I mean, nothing. Johnny, they have won. They won. They're in similar position like the Dodgers were all these years, winning division after division after division, but choking in the playoffs. But at least the Braves won in a 162 game season. At least they won in a real season, not a 60 game season. Jason, yes, you do have Mount Castle. You do. Stony, what's up, buddy? Remember talking Mets at Rob right there. Probably not a lot. Edward, I do agree with that. I actually did that prediction in my video a couple of months ago. That I felt like Correa wasn't going back to the Astros, and they would sign Story. Get that shortstop back. Even though Correa is better than Story, but why not? John, haha, what's up, buddy? Transistor, what's up? Let's keep on looking at the comments, guys. I'm still looking at everybody's comments. I know there's a lot of them, so I'm just trying to get caught up with everybody. All right, guys. You can keep bashing me. It's fun. Jim, I agree. Their lineup is scary. Like I said, I mean, they can average like 5.5 runs a game. That's maybe pushing it, but I can see that. But again, you know, we the best teams haven't win the World Series every at all. It's crazy to me. Nicholas, yeah, the Braves were they're they're the best team in the NL East. I mean, there's no doubt about that. On paper, again, you got to give respect to the champions for sure. Jason, exactly. We've been talking about that. The Mets don't have power. They have Alonso. Atlanta and Dodgers, they definitely do. Yeah, Trish, the Mets will have a good year. But, I'm not going to lie to you guys and say they're going to have a great year. I mean, I tend to not believe that. I just don't. Their rotation can be amazing if everybody's healthy, but, I mean, could that get you 92 wins? I mean, maybe. John, I'm trying. I'm not going to lie. I'm trying. Nearly 160 people in the chat. I would love to get to everybody, but I keep on losing my spot every time somebody types something. So, what else I want the Mets to do? Bullpen. Pyro, easily hit 30 home runs. I don't know about that. A $340 million man. I don't know if he's gonna. He'd be lucky to hit 25, in my opinion. Oh wait, I think I caught up with the comments. All right, here we go. Well, nobody ever talks about the Rays, but they always find a way to win 90 plus games and somehow make the playoffs. Like, it's amazing. You look at their roster, you're like, how are they going to win 90 games? And then they do. They beat up on AL East teams. It's crazy. Let's see. Let me go back. I know I missed a few comments. A lot of comments. Let me just check the comments out, guys. Just give me a second. I caught up, but I passed a few. Reggie, the Yankees have been working overtime and don't seem to be. No, I know. It's like again, like what's crazy to me is that Cashman's clearly trying to get pitching. At least that's what we assume, right? He clearly made his moves for Bats and Donaldson and Rizzo, but you clearly need rotation help. And if you still haven't made the move for Manaea, I'm assuming Oakland's asking for a lot, and Cashman's not going to do it. Tris, do the Mets have any pitching prospects in the pipeline? Well, they did. They traded JT Ginn. Matt Allen is finally supposedly healthy, but who knows if he's going to turn around and be the prospect he was supposedly is. In the top 10, not really. Lower level, yeah. There's, projected to be good, but in the top 10, they don't have much top prospect pitching at all. Matthew Allen is still considered a top prospect, but he's been injured the last couple of years, and he hasn't really pitched, so we just don't know. Let's see. Let me go back to the bottom now. Brandon, no big moves today. We got a little bit of rumors, considering that the Orioles might sign Carlos Correa. And I know I'm laughing because it's very odd to me, just as much as I laughed at the Rockies contract to Bryant. But I mean, at least they're doing something, I guess, right? And Nick Castellanos is getting an interest from the Marlins and the Phillies. Derek, he might be good, but he's got to stay healthy. That's the problem. I know it was Tommy John. It took him 2 years to get back. He's supposed to be really good. He has great stuff. But, if he doesn't remain healthy, he's not going to remain a top prospect for long. But besides that, the Mets have no pitching prospect, big-time pitching prospects in their top 10. Joe, I think Correa is going to actually sign with the Orioles. As much as crazy as it sounds, I think he is. Todd, I think they're gonna. I think they still need to bolster that bullpen up a little bit and just make the Dodgers even better. I think they're gonna sign Jansen. Merlin Full, yeah, I agree with Marte with the on base. Kana, I'm still iffy about, but we'll see. Albino, I was wrong. I actually thought he was going to the Phillies the last week or so. I wanted the Mets to get KB, but he fooled everybody. If you put odds, I guarantee the odds for Chris Bryant signing with the Rockies is probably like plus like 2,000. So it's crazy to me. But you know what? Good for him, right? MB, yes. I have a question. Who do you think the Mets have that can hit 20 to 30 home runs? Well, obviously Alonso. I could see Escobar hitting that many. Lindor probably. Uh, I mean, that's it, I guess. Not many more than that. Maybe Nimmo, maybe get to 20, but maybe three out of the whole lineup. That's probably it. Yeah, Nicholas, they did lose Kelly. If they get Jansen back, I could see them. The bullpen being a little better, and they should be okay. That's true, Daryl. That's 100% true. Albino, thank you so much, buddy. And yes, KB definitely needs I thought the Mets were going to get KB, but the Mets do still need a big bat. Once again, thanks again for the donation, buddy. And John Ha, I want the Mets to go after him. There was a little bit of rumors a couple of months ago before the lockout that the Mets are interested in Taylor Rogers, but who knows what they want to give up or get for Taylor Rogers. That would be something I could see the Mets doing because they're clearly not signing any damn bullpen help, or at least good ones. MB, I think it would be the right move just to see if Conforto takes a 1-year deal. It's the only thing I can think of. I don't think the Mets are going after Castellanos. They're not going after Correa, so I would have to say Conforto. Yeah, Merlefeld, okay, they're a fine, but they're not. They're not the Braves, and that's the problem. Edward, well, I was looking. I was hoping the Mets try to look at Eddie Rosario. Soler would be a nice pickup for the Mets. I would take that in a heartbeat. World Series MVP right there. I'll love to have him on my team. Let's see. Merlefeld, I hope McNeil's bounced back. We need him in this lineup. We really do. I'm just gonna roll around Twitter a little bit more just to see what's going on. Let's see. Yeah, Christian, I agree. The Mets are not releasing Cano. They might negotiate a buyout if he does it. Like if he doesn't perform and they give him all the chances and he's not good, then they'll probably just buy him out. But they're gonna give him a chance. Steven, because they're gonna have to give up a ton, and the Mets are not gonna give up 3 of their top 10 prospects, or maybe even 4 of their top 15. The similar deal that the Braves gave up for Olsen is what the Mets would have to give up for Jose Ramirez. The Mets are not doing that. So that means probably a Beatty or Alvarez to start. Probably Mauricio. Probably a Robert Dominguez. And another top 15 prospect. The Mets are not doing that. JP, a projected Mets lineup. I will go. Let's give me a second. Let's see. Let me just. I would say I'm gonna type it out so I just make sure I don't forget nobody. Give me a second, guys. I'm just. All right. So the lineup that I would have currently is Marte leading off, Nimmo second, Lindor third, Alonso fourth, Escobar fifth, Smith sixth, McNeil seventh, Connor eight, and McCann nine. Now, I feel like you might want to put McNeil ninth to be like a second leadoff hitter. You could do something like that. But that's the lineup that I think they would put out there. Angel, new member of Talkin' Mets here, Rob. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. So shout out to Angel being a new member of Talkin' Mets here, Rob. Thank you so much, buddy. Bino, I do think the Mets are probably looking into if Conforto takes a 1-year deal. The Mets are not giving him a multi-year deal. I would be shocked if they do. Maybe a 2-year deal with a 1-year opt-out, maybe, but nothing more than that. Yeah, John. I mean, you can maneuver around. You put some guys on the bench, and if you get that other bat, listen. If you sign Conforto to a 1-year deal, Connor's going on the bench. Nimmo's going to left, Conforto's going to right, and Marte's your center fielder. No news on Pujols. Haven't heard much. Marcus, that's a good point too. That one team that makes the splash in the trade at the deadline, like the Braves did, they it wasn't huge splash, but they basically put together a whole new outfield with Ozuna with the whole domestic violence thing, Acuna going out with the injury. They needed an outfield. They got an outfield and it worked. They got Duvall, they got Rosario, they got Soler, and they won a World Series with that. They weren't the greatest players, but they fit perfectly. There you go, Grant. One of us. One of us. DW Sports. Do you think the Tigers will sign anyone before the season? I don't think so anymore. Honestly, could they look again at Castellanos? Maybe. I doubt it. I could see them the Tigers going after some back of the rotation, started pitching and bullpen. Other than that, I think you got the team. What you see right now, honestly, DW. Oh yeah, they gave up their 5th-ranked prospect, JT Ginn, and their 20th ranked prospect in Ulster. So yeah, that was one of the prospects that they were talking about that they liked a lot. But you have to give up to get something. And Chris Bassett is, a pretty darn good pitcher, and the Mets needed it, honestly. So they had to give up what they A's asked for the most part. All right, Yippee, have a good night, buddy. New Yorker, I will eat some crow if McNeil has a bounce back year. I totally would. I'd be very happy if that happens. I want to look like a fool when it comes to McNeil. I really do. MB, I'm not really happy with the lineup. I'm not. I mean, it's a good lineup, but I mean, the thing that I worry about the most is that teams are going to look to not pitch to Pete Alonso. Who would you rather face, Escobar, McNeil, or Alonso? They're going to pitch around them, and that's the problem. That's why I don't like the way the lineup's set up. Steven, agree. Like I said, I have no problem if the Mets want to sign Castellanos or sign Conforto back. At least that it's going to help your bench. It's going to make the bench better. Now you have Kana and Smith and Guillaume as your bench. It's a decent bench. It's not bad. There was many times when the Mets had terrible benches. They're not going to platoon Conforto. They're going to put him in right field, and Connor's going on the bench, and Nimmo's going to left. Yeah, I could see Nick Plummer or Khalil Lee being a part of, maybe a fourth or fifth outfielder. I could see that. Also Mark Vientos, another prospect for the Mets, a third baseman who also could play first base and outfield. He's a power bat coming from the minors. I could see him coming up. I could see Vientos being one of those guys that probably make the roster, but I definitely could see Khalil Lee and Nick Plummer, one of those guys. Yeah, Jason, I agree. I would rather take the inconsistency and have them 3 weeks when he's hot, and then the 2 weeks of cold. I would have that in a heartbeat. Honestly, I would. You can probably, I find it hard to believe in Conforto's 6-year career. Last year was his worst year. The other 5 were really good, pretty good. So everybody just thinks he's going to have a year like last year. Even if he has a bad year in Conforto terms, it's still going to probably be better than last year. I think we have to take it at this point, honestly. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I agree. That's the problem, Philip. Lindor's not a $340 million a year player. He's probably not even a $200 million a year player, but he's still a really good player. And we're not, we need him to be great, but he's not going to be. He's going to be really good. And that's it. He's never going to live up to the contract. Yeah, it wasn't an expensive deal, but I think they wanted to get a lot of the toxic situation that's off the team. The reason why the Mets didn't sign Stroman, and it's probably the same reason they didn't sign Baez, because they probably thought he was a bad influence for Lindor, in my opinion. Again, I have no confirmation of that, but I think that's what it is. Look what they did. They got a lot of good character guys, a lot of good clubhouse guys. That's what they did. That's what I think, Steven. That's at least my opinion. Ken, I honestly, this is the first time I've seen your comment, honestly. I'm looking back. I honestly don't see it. Ken, if you can type it again, I would read it. Dingers, what's up, buddy? Jason, I think we're all hoping he gets busted again. They talked about him with the vaccine. He said he's scared of needles. Like, really? Yeah, Angel, 1-year deal. I'm not going no more than that. 2-year with an opt out. That's all I would do. At the moment, yes, we still have to give up a pick for Castellanos. Tris, Nimmo and McNeil are nice players, Powers and everything. No, Powers and everything. They're nice players. But I do worry that a lot of teams are going to pitch around Alonso to get the other players who they think they can get out. Yeah, exactly, Jason. He'll have a month where you can't get him out, and then 2 months where he can't even put the bat on the ball. And I don't know why they're not going after Soler. Maybe they still will. Maybe they still will. We'll have to wait and see, Stoney. Yeah, probably he was 4 years ago. Yeah, but he's not a $340 million a year player. He's a really good player, but he's not great at this moment anymore. Yeah, Frank, I don't think the Mets are going to do that. Unfortunately, I would love that, but I don't think that's going to happen. Yeah, Daryl, I understand what you're saying, but I don't see the Mets doing that. Maybe the Mets will do that 1-year deal, and Conforto has a nice year, and the Mets think about the long-term deal. We got to. DeGrom's going to opt out. You got to worry about that. Nimmo's a free agent. See what the Mets are going to do there. The Mets are going to lose a few guys in their rotation after this year as well. So, there's a lot the Mets have to look at too. Transistor, I've been saying that. I think you have to give up a couple of prospects. I mean, they did. You could talk about JT Ginn getting Chris Bassett, but I know what you mean. Making that big move like for the Jose Ramirez or something like that. Oh, Danny, please let's not talk about Cespedes. He's probably on his horse in his farm or getting chased by a boar. All right, guys. So there hasn't really been much news, and I'm probably gonna end the stream around in about 10 minutes or so. So there hasn't been much at all. There's been a little bit of rumors about the Baltimore Orioles to the with Correa that apparently they gave him a big deal or a big offer, and Nick Castellanos is getting interest from the Phillies and the Marlins. There hasn't been really much minor league deals here and there, nothing much. So I'm probably gonna call it a stream in about 10 minutes or so. But I really appreciate all you guys hanging in there and getting into arguments with me about all the teams. That's what sports is all about. No hard feelings ever. Yeah, Jose, I agree. But you know what? You never know. You just never know. Maybe it gives them the jolt that team needs, but I doubt it. Jason, I agree. I think the Mets, losing on Chafin really pissed me off, but they didn't do it. I don't know what they're gonna do. Yeah, John, they could go for Nick, but I don't think they want to give up that draft pick. Webbs, I will drive all four of them to Cleveland. I would. I honestly think you probably have to do more than that. Honestly, Ronnie Mauricio, yeah, absolutely. Ziegler, absolutely. Um, if you take JD out of there and put up another top 10 prospect, maybe a Robert Dominguez or a player like that, maybe, or Jose Ramirez. That's the only thing I can think of. But yeah, I don't think that's going to be enough. Honestly, I would do that personally as a Met fan, but I don't think Cleveland would do that. It's a solid offer, but it's not going to be enough. Because if you look what the Braves gave up for Olsen, it's no contest. Yeah, but you know what? That means the pressure was on him and he failed. Yes, he hit the 2 home runs in the World Series against the Royals, so he dealt with New York pressure. But you know what? When the Mets needed him, and in his contract year, when personally it would have benefited him for the rest of his life if he had a really good year in a contract year, and he failed. That's what I think a lot of people are looking at. Granted, I don't think you should give a Conforto a long-term deal. I don't think you can trust him yet. Give him a 1-year deal. Let's see what he can do. If he bounces back with the stats that he had in the rest of his career, other than last year, then all right, maybe you can think about a 5-year deal for a good amount of money. But right now, no, I can't do it. Jim, thank you so much, buddy. Hopefully you keep on keeping on, and don't forget to subscribe and all that fun stuff. Thank you, Jim. So Lair 2-year 40 million. That might be a little bit of a lot, but I'd do that. That's a good point. That's a really good point, actually. Really good point. I would. You know what? I think a lot of Met fans now, since the Phillies did a lot and are continuing to do a lot, or signing that big name in Schwarber, and trying to fix their bullpen. You hear the Met fans clamoring like, what the hell are you guys doing? The Braves got better, so yeah. I think when they got Bassett, the Mets felt like, oh, here we go, we're going to be making more moves, and they just have been quiet for the last couple of days, and it's a little worrisome. And I think a lot of Met fans are a little bit like, what the hell is going on? But what can you do? It's they think they have a good team, and that's all you can do. Philip, I really hope not, but I think other than another bullpen arm, I think they're done doing anything with the lineup, and that's unfortunate. So, Leah, 2 years, 32, I would do that. 16 per, I do that in a heartbeat. they sold back to the Wilpons. Well, Fred was there the other day at spring training, so maybe that crap rubbed off on him. Daryl, I tend to agree with that. I also think he's going to help Lindor as well. Honestly, Neil Conforto absolutely could definitely help them out. NBA, I hope we're fine, but we will see. We will see. Webb, do you think you're going to be great in 2022? If we're healthy, we're going to be a solid team. Great is I don't know, Webbs. I would like us to be great, but I don't know. Great. I don't agree with you on the great part. I think we're going to be solid, but not great. Oh yeah, Scherzer definitely improve the club and the rotation for sure. Everybody stays healthy. You could wish that for every team. The Mets are going to be a solid team. Are they going to be great? Like Webb said, I don't know. I'm worried about the bullpen. I really am. There's not many that are any good. They're all gone, unfortunately. Yeah, Christian. So yeah, it was what, March 19th. Now it's April 16th. So you're already pushing into the season already. Yeah, I see the Mets as a wild card team right now. I do. Where is Buck now? Probably sleeping. Gausman had one good year. I wouldn't go crazy about Gausman. And again with Baez, I just think the Mets didn't want to go down that route. All right, guys. So I'm gonna, there hasn't been a lot of news at all. So I was planning on being on for a couple of hours. So I don't really get something, and we didn't. So I'm gonna end the stream at this moment, guys. So once again, guys, I really appreciate everybody for tuning in today. Hopefully, whatever players are left go off the board soon, so we can start talking about spring training and rosters and lineups and what's going on in our team's free agents in spring training. So hopefully, if you're still looking for a player you want and your team gets them, glad for you. So once again, guys, I really appreciate all the disagreements, all the entertainment tonight, guys. So I really do appreciate everybody hanging out tonight. If you haven't hit on that like button, please do. And if you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit on that subscribe button. And hopefully you keep on tuning back for the live streams and check out my latest videos and all that. So I really appreciate it, guys. Have a good night. Met fans, let's go Mets. Have a good night, guys.